Hello, and welcome back to another interview from White Album 2. Today we are getting a pretty exciting interview because I think it really digs deep into a lot of the characters of White Album 2, and not only Kazusa and Setsuna, which is exciting because I love the side heroines so much. This is the WA2 character description by Maruto Fumiaki. Dengeki Playstation, White Album 2 scenario writer Fumiaki Maruto himself introduces the 5 heroines. So he's the writer of White Album 2, the big boss, God, as they sometimes refer to him in the studio. Good evening. This is Negitoran from Dengeki Playstation. For our final special feature on WA2, we asked the scenario writer, Fumiaki Maruto, to give his commentary on the 5 heroines. As their creator, Maruto speaks about the image of each heroine, and his comments, full of affection, are not to be missed. Maruto's funny. Some of his comments about the heroines of White Album 2 are a little bit pervy, I guess is definitely the word I'm looking for, but they are very funny. Also, check each of the 5 heroines again with their new CGs from the PS3 edition. And if you didn't know, yes, the PlayStation 3 edition had a lot of updated CGs. Setsuna and Kazusa are given their settings in Part 1, Introductory Chapter, IC, and Part 2, Closing Chapter, CC. While Koharu, Chiaki, and Mari are discussed as they appear in CC. First, we're going to start out with Setsuna Ogiso, voice acted by Madoka Yonezawa. Also, I love this CG. It kind of makes me sad, but it makes me really happy at the same time. I'm glad she can finally enjoy the snow. IC, student of Hojo High School in Class 3A. Miss Hojo High for 2 years running, school idol. The personality she puts on has garnered her high popularity. Does karaoke as a hobby. And Cece, 3rd year in the Politics and Economics Department of Hojo University. Trying not to stand out as much as she did before, but because of her legend from 3 years before, her idol-like existence is unchanged. I wonder whether there has ever been a main heroine to whom phrases like running away from everything and in decline have applied. She is the main one. In decline. That's sad. I mean, I guess it's not entirely wrong. Her mental health is in decline. She made an error in her path at the start, and after that, whatever road she follows, she always gets broken-hearted, making her look like a dog that loses every fight. Which is funny, they compare Setsuna to a dog when it's always Kazusa. The difficult thing about her is that the more she loses, the greater her appeal grows, so she gradually evolves into the strongest loser possible. Even more bothersome is that she still feels some pride in herself, in spite of her continuous fall. Please, accept this pride of hers with some kindness. And that, ladies and gentlemen and everyone else whom that applies to, is the worst description of Setsuna I've ever read. What? That is the most negative thing ever. And you know what? This isn't the first time that Maruto-san has done this. He's done it as well in some of the Blu-ray descriptions of the characters. He is so negative. Not the Blu-ray, the PlayStation descriptions of the characters specifically. He has been so negative about some of his characters to the point where I was wanting to stand up and be like, no, you're wrong. Even though he's the guy that wrote it. I mean, yes, every character has their flaws. That's kind of what's fun about White Album 2. But geez, you gotta be so direct like that? Well, moving on to Kazusa, voice acted by Hitomi Nabatame. IC, student of Hojo High School in Class 3E, habitually arrives late and skips class. Her looks put models to shame, But because of her personality, there is a wall between her and others around her, isolating her. Cece, studying the piano abroad, or so it is believed, but her current circumstances are unknown. All that anybody hears about is her mother, a world-famous pianist. An example of how, when a stray dog gets attached to you, things can get intense. In that sense, she is an overly faithful dog. She may bark or bite or sulk, but she's always wagging her tail. Even more troubling is that even though she was once a stray dog, she is actually of a pedigree with the finest breeding. That is a disgusting way to refer to a human being, but that's fine, I guess. Whatever. Ugh, that just gave me the heebie-jeebies. If you pet her, it makes her ecstatic in a way that is difficult to understand. However, if you leave her alone, she will eat nothing but sugar, so she must be strictly controlled. Therefore, the only one who can truly make her happy is a top breeder who will devote their life to their dog. Do your best, everyone. Ew, 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 ew. Top breeder? What the crap is that? Oh my god. Just, don't, okay, referring to Kazusa as the loyal dog, I have no problem with, right? That's kind of cute. It gets a little bit overdone, but in concept, I totally get it, and it is cute. But talking about her as being you need a breeder to devote their life to that's gross. That's not even sexy. That's just creepy. I hate that. That's the worst. That's the new top contender for worst character description I have ever read. Moving on to a very scandalous image of Koharu Sugiura, voice acted by Yoriko Nagata. Hojo High School, Class 3A. Overly helpful and a busybody. Similar in personality to a certain someone. Of moderate size, in several senses. Aw, Koharu, never change. She wants to know everything, to manage everything, and to interfere in everything. Because of these similarities to the protagonist, Haruki, Koharu is sometimes called Koharuki, which is a funny pun, by the way, because ko often means small or child or mini. So it's kind of like a pun to say Koharuki. It's cute. I love that nickname. But where her true similarity to Haruki lies is not in those factors. It's in her self-centered personality, which makes her detest being interfered with herself, in spite of her tendencies. The power of the boomerang they hold is very strong, and Koharu's defensive abilities are low. So there is likely to be a breakdown at some point. She conceals qualities that make her an even more beaten-down dog than Setsuna, and faithful dog as Kazusa. Dude, what is with the dog? I know it's always been Kazusa, but really? Setsuna and now Koharu? Do you refer to every girl as a dog? I'm just saying. I'm seeing a pattern and I don't like it. Moving on to another very, very suggestive image of Chiaki. I love Chiaki. My God. Chiaki Izumi, voice acted by Risato Habuki, attends seminar with Haruki, third year in the literature department at Hojo University. Excuse me. Typical lazy college student. Has been promoted through her school years smoothly enough, but is at risk of repeating a year. I can't compare her to a dog like I have been with the other heroines, so maybe a tanuki. No, the meaning behind that would be too deep, so I'll say she's a fickle cat. Okay, or you can just refer to them as women and not animals, but, that's my opinion. Basically, her top priority is to live for her own personal enjoyment, but she has a cooperative spirit in that she does her utmost to come up with a way for her and her companion to be happy together. rather than use the other person as a stepping stone. Everyone will be happier if they don't realize it, so it's best not to pry too far. Absolutely do not open the shoji. So, if she finds a companion she deems worthy of being her companion, she will want them both to be happy. Now, having a happy partner, you can see it as a greedy thing if you really look into it because, as the saying says, happy wife equals happy life, and happy husband equals happy husband. I don't think anything rhymes with husband that relates to this. But it is true. If your partner is happy, you should be happy as well. And if your partner is unhappy, it's going to mess up your life. So she might be doing it out of greed for herself. But hey, we're all a little greedy sometimes. And finally, Mari Kazuoka, voice acted by Yu Asakawa. Magazine editor at a mid-level publishing house. Rumored to be a candidate for the next editor-in-chief. She is talented, but too high. So her luck with men is somewhat lacking. I mean, she cares a lot about her work. Being too high shouldn't be that big an issue because you're not really supposed to date within the same company you work at, right? That's a known fact. But since Mari-san spends all of her time at work and doesn't really go out and enjoy herself very often, yes, she has not been able to meet a guy. In her school days, she devoted herself to her friendships with other girls. And once she became an adult, she got deep into her work. The smallest failure with a man has left her timid on that front. And on top of that, at some point, she developed a taste for men younger than she is, making her both the strongest and the weakest girl. I'm presenting her this way deliberately. At date-seeking parties, she'll beat every man who speaks to her in an argument, and then she'll gripe in bars about how men never approach her. But it suits her, so it's fine for her to stay that way. I mean, I hope you don't get into many arguments at the date parties. But if you do, it's probably a reason you got into a fight with them. And I'm not saying they're all the guy's fault, but I can't picture Mari-san deliberately picking a fight over something unless it's something she feels strongly about, you know? Like someone downplaying the fact that she's a career woman and being like, oh, when are you going to have a baby? Do you want to be a housewife? I could picture her getting mad and arguing there. This article was published in Dengeki Playstation Volume 531, released November 29th, 2012. So, some very interesting character analysis here. Personally, some of them feel a little icky to me, but I guess it's straight from the horse's mouth with Maruto-san giving us his own opinions on things. So, with that, I just gotta kind of shrug and be like, that's cool. So, thank you very much for joining me on this White Album 2 interview, and I'll be back with more interviews in the future. Until then, hope you take care. See you!